think he stepped out either. That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Welcome back to the Giant Overreaction, the Week 3 edition. I know y'all saw that thumbnail, man. We definitely got some Giant problems here in New York, man. Definitely took our second loss of the season here, man. Bad defense, bad offense. A great day in Giants Twitter, I will say that, man. Don't take this internet stuff too seriously, y'all. I'm telling you, just have fun with it. Watch your football, enjoy it. Everybody in the NFC East lost so far this week. We got the Philadelphia Eagles still playing the Bucs, and that includes us. The 49ers beat the Giants 30-12. If you saw our preview show, I picked that the Giants were going to lose this game 31-13. So it kind of went how I thought. There was a moment there where the Giants were kind of keeping the game a little bit tight there. But I thought all in all, the San Francisco 49ers pretty much controlled this game throughout and kind of was toying with the New York Giants, even when they were kind of having some of their struggles in the first half. The score was 17-6 at halftime. The 49ers got their 13th straight regular season win, so don't feel too bad, New York Giants fans. The 49ers are definitely on a streak here. And Christian McCaffrey scored a touchdown in his 12th straight appearance here. Giants finished the game with just 150 yards of offense, man. That is pathetic right there. Our lone touchdown was a Matt Breida 8-yard touchdown run. That was set up by 2 49er penalties. So I don't even know if we could have got that touchdown if it wasn't for some mistakes on the 49ers side of the ball. They dominated in just about every category here. Total yards, they dominated 441 to 150. With rushing yards, they dominated 141 to 29. And y'all know I've been talking about our identity. And I know we were missing Andrew Thomas. I know we was missing Saquon Barkley. But I think you still got to find a way to run the rock, man. Y'all know our theme over here at Awthentik and the Beard, RTDB. And it's funny, I post that a lot on Twitter. And one of El Jefe's homies was like, what does RTDB mean? And then as he was asking the question, he literally came back with another post saying, oh, run the damn ball. Kind of made sense to him. So I know a lot of people don't know that moniker, but RTDB, run the damn ball. Passing yards, man, the 49ers, they topped us on that too, 300 to 121 yards. They got us 26 first downs to 10 first downs. And third down conversions, man, it was ugly. Both sides of the ball here. Normally when I talk about third down conversions, I'm normally talking about how we play on offense. But defensively, we were trashing this game on third down, 9 for 16. There were a bunch of third and longs that we played a little bit too aggressive. And Brock Purdy and that 49ers offense ended up making their way to first downs here. On our side of the ball, the Giants were 3 for 12 on third down. And time of possession, you cannot be dominated in time of possession the way that we were dominated on Thursday night. It almost seems like it was last week now because of how great the games were on Sunday. I mean, there were some fantastic games, some great blowouts, some good losses across the NFC East. And this game just seems like it was so far in time, just back a couple days here. 39 minutes, 10 seconds to 20 minutes and 50 seconds. Man, the Giants, their 150 total yards of offense is the lowest in 10 years. We had 121 passing yards. That was the lowest of the year. Or, I'm sorry, that was not the lowest of the year. We had 63 passing yards against the Dallas Cowboys opening week. So we're in trouble here, y'all. This offense is not clicking. The weapons that we brought in, they're not adding more yards to this offense. We're not seeing the more yak that we thought we were going to see. On our side of the ball, we definitely saw the yak from the San Francisco 49ers, who came into this game. Brock Purdy's offense was ranked 27th in yak yards through 2 games. And in this game, they had more yak yards than we had total offense. So it was just disgusting across the board for the Giants. It's one of those games where, man, I really didn't want to get reeled in. Even when the score was cut down to like 5 points there, I didn't want to get too reeled in because I just felt the 49ers were in control throughout most of this game. The 49ers' 441 yards of offense is the most allowed since just last season. And that was a game against the Jacksonville Jaguars where Daniel Jones ran for 100 yards in that game too. We showed up in that game offensively. Defensively, not so much. But to allow 441 yards of offense and still come away with the victory, I think it's very telling with how this season is going so far. I'm not going to have a giant overreaction, even though that is the main name and the main staple of this show, but so far what it looks like to me is that those games that we were closing out last year in the fourth quarter, those one-score games, the 7 one-score games, we're starting to have trouble with that, but you do got to take it with a grain of salt. We're going up against some elite defenses in the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys. Can't quite say the same for the Arizona Cardinals, but you saw it yesterday. Any given Sunday, they beat the Dallas Cowboys. So the Arizona Cardinals are not in this tank mode as far as it goes on the field. That might be the case as far as, the front office and whatnot, not trying to bring in players and not trying to go out there and like acquire players who are going to actually aid to the team. But the guys that are out there on the field for the Arizona Cardinals, they are definitely putting in some work. They're playing good football. 3 weeks of football, they look like a better club than we do. I'll keep it real with you. You look at them week 1 against the Washington Commanders. I think they lost that one 20-16, close game throughout. They had a chance at the end. They couldn't get it. And then you look at them week 2 against us, put up a good fight, good first half. To me, really think they should have won the game. Their second half adjustments were terrible. Great comeback for the New York Giants. You can't take away anything from Daniel Jones in that offense in that game. And then they go up here against the Dallas Cowboys and finally get a victory. I mean, could you imagine if they were sitting at 2-1 right now? It'd be a totally different story in Arizona. So I do think they're fighting, they're clawing. But it says a lot about the Giants. You know, this year we thought we were going to be a little bit better. When you look at the roster, you look at the additions, we're thinking this team's supposed to look better. But I did hear a lot of people in the offseason, especially in our spaces, talking about this, that the Giants could be a better team this year in 2023, but the record might not say that. I think we got to kind of pump the brakes a little bit too, myself included, right? Because at this point in the season, I figured we would be 1-2. I thought Dallas could be a winnable game, possibly, but I knew, you know, the Dallas Cowboys had a better roster on paper than us. I thought they were going to come out there and probably beat us. I thought we'd have a better chance than getting dog walk 40-0, but nonetheless, I did chalk that one up as a loss. So now, sitting at 1-2, I'm not frightened, I'm not panicking, but I am a little bit worried. I was worried when we had the performance against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm like, we should be kind of dominating a team like that, when in fact we didn't. So the Giants now, when you look at our first 3 games, we've been outscored in the first half 63-6. This goes back to Giants' problems that have been over the past 5 years. We cannot get off to a good start. So many times our offense cannot put up points early. I can remember when Evan Ingram was here and he caught that fade route. I can't remember what team that was against, but he caught a nice fade route on the first drive of a New York Giants game. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember what game it was. I wanted to say it was the Raiders, but that wasn't the game. It might have been the Raiders game. And then you just see the offense kind of go kaput after that, right? We've been struggling to put up first drive points and first half points for 5 years, right? And I don't know if that's a coincidence with the quarterback we've had here now entering his 5th season. I'm sure it's obviously not all on him, right? It's got a lot to do with coaching. It's got a lot to do with personnel. When you look at this offensive line, it's relatively the same unit that we had last year, added JMS to it, and now with injuries, you're seeing guys have to get plug and played into positions they're not normally used to playing. And I got to give them their props for trying their best. They're going out there, they're giving effort, but in this day and age, it's not enough. I got to keep it funky. It's just not enough. But being outscored 63-6 in the first half, that's something that the New York Giants got to fix. And don't forget, in the divisional game against the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, we got outscored in the first half 28-0. So the Giants are just not getting off to good starts early in these games. And you look at the first 3 games here, this is the worst point differential, first half point differential through 3 games since 1991. That's a long damn time. I saw Pat Leonard put out an article talking about this, the first time that the New York Giants had went through this many games without putting up 200 yards of offense in any of the first 3 games in the entire Daniel Jones era. So we know bad coaching before Brian Dable got here. I'm not going to panic and overreact, but I think when a team is losing the way that we're losing, you got to point some fingers at the coaches, and coaches will take that blame definitely no problem. Now, Brock Purdy and his 49ers offense, they started off a little bit shaky, but they definitely got things going late in this game. Brock Purdy was 25 of 37 for 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He also was 20 of 31 for 247 yards and 2 touchdowns against the blitz. The 49ers, I talked about this already, they had more yak than the Giants had offense. And the thing that a lot of people are talking about today and pointing the fingers at the coaches, they're pointing at Wink Martindale today. He blitzed Brock Purdy on 84.6% of his dropbacks. It's the highest blitz rate in any game since Next Gen Stats has been covering blitz rate. So that's pretty bad. They're saying that 33 of his 39 dropbacks is how many times Wink Martindale blitzed Brock Purdy. Now, Brock Purdy got 247 of his passing yards while he was being blitzed. He had 310 total. So a lot of people might have looked at how Brock Purdy started this game and thought it was like, oh, man, this guy's a pretty average quarterback. You could plug and play any quarterback. I've seen a bunch of comparisons running around the internet with who you could replace Brock Purdy for. Nothing would change. But nonetheless, the kid had a good game out there. And I think Brock Purdy, he struggles with arm strength, but I think he has pretty decent accuracy. This is probably one of the games you saw his accuracy more off than normal. Great mechanics, great footwork. I talked about that in our preview show. If you let him sit back there and plant his feet, he's going to dice you. I promise you. He's one of the best anticipation throwers in the league right now. You could question that. Just like I've been telling y'all about Tua. The beard has been on Tua for a long, long time, telling y'all Tua's going to be one of the better quarterbacks. That prompted me to go look at the tape and really dig into Tua's tape. And I saw a guy who can anticipate better than any quarterback in this league. Dan Orlovsky talked about it on Twitter. I had some comments on that. He retweeted it. A lot of people didn't agree with it. Some podcasts picked it up. Some smart, some not so smart, saying, yeah, Tua is one of the better anticipation throwers in the league. And I think you saw that this past Sunday, that the Miami Dolphins are one of the best teams in the NFL right now. And a lot of that got to do with the quarterback play. Obviously, a lot of it has to do with the weapons that they have over there, but they didn't have Jalen Waddle on the field this past Sunday, and it didn't look like that. They went out there and they straight up demolished the Denver Broncos, who put up a good fight against our division rival, the Washington Commanders. So when it comes to Brock Purdy, you can't forget also this dude just had his 8th or his 9th start of his entire career, and he's out here. He's putting up some decent numbers. He has multiple touchdown passes in 8 of his 9 starts right now. This guy is definitely playing some decent football. And I knew coming into this game to show Brock Purdy a lot of respect. Now, Daniel Jones in this offense, Jones was 22 of 32 for just 137 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception on the day. Daniel Jones, his 137 passing yards is the fewest in Giants history of any quarterback with at least 22 or more completions in a game. The one thing that stood out to me, and this was the tweet that went extremely viral of mine after the game, I put up a post saying Jalen Hyatt, 0 targets. That's unacceptable. I don't care what's going on. You come out of that Cardinals game, Jalen Hyatt has 82 yards on 2 receptions. You're already babying him. This reminds me of what they were doing with Kadarius Toney. Not only this coaching staff, but the previous coaching staff. They're not trying to get the talent on the field, and I understand you got to develop these players before you just throw them to the wolves. But when you see Jalen Hyatt running these routes, getting open, sometimes not getting the ball. In this last game, or in the game before this last game, did get the ball against the Arizona Cardinals on 2 plays where he made fantastic catches. The second catch stood out to me, a 50-50 ball. That was why we brought in Kenny Galladay, and that completely didn't work. So, you know, Giants fans are asking for one thing here. They're asking for wide receivers to make plays that aren't like just your typical, oh, the ball got to be perfectly thrown and land right in their lap. They're looking for wide receivers who can make plays like what we saw from the San Francisco 49ers on Thursday night. When you look at Deebo Samuels, yeah, he's coming across the middle and Brock Purdy puts the ball right on him, anticipates, great throw. But the yards after catch, how he's just dragging our entire defense for an extra 10, 15 yards. We don't see that same kind of fight from our wide receivers. And I'm not questioning the lack of effort. I'm not. I'm really not. I think players got to go out there. They got to play hard. They got to play tough. But it's just not panning into wins right now for the Giants. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. We've been playing some tough defenses, but these first half performances, for me, defense too, but especially, y'all know I focus on the offense over here. They have been extremely pathetic for me. You know, to have only 6 points in the first half through 3 games, you're not going to win a lot of ball games like that. And the thing that stood out again was that Jalen Hyatt, 0 targets. He was only on the field for 12 passing snaps. A lot of New York Giants fans were angry with this. I don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Maybe there's some truth to what's going on with what the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver coach said about Jalen Hyatt. When you look at his tape from Tennessee, a lot of times he didn't have to go out there and run a very versatile route tree, right? We're not seeing nothing short from Jalen Hyatt. Like, everything they run from Jalen Hyatt just seems to be go balls, post routes, corner routes. That's it. You're getting 7, 8, 9. That's it. And I don't know how they're going to fix that, especially when you have an offensive line that's having trouble blocking up front. To me, it's a head scratcher. They're not getting the running game going, so you're not able to pass off play action and be able to get these linebackers stepping up. You saw that in this game against the San Francisco 49ers. We trying to run play action on first down. Their linebackers are not even reacting to the play action. A lot of that got to do with the success rate of the Giants on first down as far as play action goes, and a lot of it has to do with not having Saquon Barkley on the field. So it's tough sledding for the Giants. Only 11 rushing attempts in this entire game. That's the second fewest in New York Giants history. The only other time we had a fewer amount of rushing attempts in a game, I was 6 years old. It was in 1989 versus the Rams. So the Giants got to find a way to clean this up. I'm pointing my finger at the coaching staff today, number one. That's what it is for me, because it's the coach's job to get these players prepared and to be ready and to be out there to put up their best performance, put their guys in a best position, right? And it's starting to remind me of kind of what I see with the Chicago Bears, because right now Justin Fields looks completely cooked in that system, and a lot of it got to do with Justin Fields. He's holding on to the ball way too long. He cannot read defenses at all right now. He is one that I'm completely missing the mark on with my assessment from Justin Fields coming into the offseason. I was expecting this guy to take a bigger leap, and he's not doing that. Now, he has his part in the blame. But when you look at what Luke Getsky is doing over there, he's not playing to the strengths of his quarterback. They came into that game with 2 designed runs for Justin Fields. Listen, I'm going to straight up treat Justin Fields how Brian Dable treated Daniel Jones last season. We running the ball. That's all we going to do is RTDB with Justin Fields. And I think with this offense and these particular weapons that we brought in right now, they're trying to shift the identity a little bit too fast. And then you get the Saquon Barkley injury. I don't think we're putting our players in the best position to win games. I don't think we're putting our offense in the best position to win games because we're not utilizing the personnel that we have correctly. Now, this is just me as a fan speaking my opinion. I'm not sitting here telling you that I could go out here and do a better job than Brian Dable. But I'm just seeing this through 3 games. Lack of commitment to the running game. A quarterback who needs the running game to be able to do what he does in the running game. Daniel's going to be able to get some runs here and there, but if you don't get Saquon Barkley clicking early, you're not going to get Daniel Jones clicking early as far as the ground game goes. So it's extremely frustrating to see. The Giants defense, I didn't talk about them too much, but 16 missed tackles on the day is ridiculous. And shout out to the homie Stan. He texted me this morning. He said, bro, did you see the Xavier McKinney quote that came out? And I said, nah, man, I've been just all over the place. I'm packing, and that's why I had to do an early show today because I'm getting ready to move out of here. And you can't see it on camera, but, it's a tornado behind me. There's so much stuff in here. So I wanted to get an early start on that, trying to get some things moved. But Stan sent me this quote from Giants Insider, and it's about Xavier McKinney. And McKinney said this. He said, tackling is not the reason why games are going where they are going. It's not the reason that I'm not going to stress over it. Now, I can just think of a couple of tackles right off the top of my head with Xavier McKinney, and I'm not going to just extremely just go at him. I understand that it's not just tackling why the New York Giants are losing games, right? But when he says a comment like that, it's going to make people make him the spotlight. The bullseye going to be on you now, right? So you say something like that, it automatically makes me think about week 1 against Dallas, on the CeeDee Lamb double move, kind of like wheel route that he ran where Xavier McKinney just straight up whiffed on a tackle. He made up 4 down by the goal line, and then we ended up holding him to 3. It makes me think about the Joshua Dobbs run, 40 yards, just full speed ahead right at Xavier McKinney. Looked like McKinney's kind of trying to go for a strip after a big play like that. Ends up getting a bit trucked out. I got to call it what it is. He got trucked on the play. So it's going to make you point the finger at him. You look at Bobby O. You look at Kayvon Thibodeau. The lack of Azeez Ojulari, again, I might add. It's extremely frustrating. This kid has sky-high potential to be a great edge rusher in this league, but he cannot stay on the field. It's extremely, extremely frustrating. So I don't know where the Giants are going to go from here. I understand that Wink Martindale, his back is against the wall. When your front 4 or your front is not getting pressure on the quarterback, you got to go out there and send extra people at the quarterback. That's what it is. And offensively, when you can't protect your quarterback, you got to put more people in protection. If you look at some of the route combinations from the New York Giants in this game, there were a ton of route combinations with just 2 receivers running routes. They're doing that because we have to keep guys in and go max protect and be able to pass protect for our quarterback. And it's still not working. You look at the play where the New York Giants had Daniel Jones sacked, almost was a safety, right? And the play stands out in my mind because one of our homies, one of our fans from the chat, Brian Perez, he sent me a clip of Daniel Jones, the play before, literally the play before. And I forget who was calling the game, but whoever was on color commentary was like, yeah, Daniel Jones is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. He can move, he can maneuver, he can do all this. The play right after that, he gets sacked, right? And I'm just like, what the irony in this, right? And I'm looking at Daniel Bellinger, and it looked like Brian Dable set up a play, him and Mike Kafka set up a play to just allow the edge rusher to just come off the edge, which was Bosa, I believe, and be unblocked and try to get a naked boot. Now, those plays worked last year. Go back, look at the Chicago Bears game last year. Go back and look at the Indianapolis Colts game last year. Both those games, Daniel Jones had 2 rushing touchdowns in each of them. And when he would go to boot, nobody would be out there because they'd be focused on Barkley. But you can't run those kind of plays, 1, when you don't got Barkley on the field, and 2, when you're not setting it up with the run first. You cannot run those type of plays. They're not fooled by these boots, this play action stuff. And I thought it was a good like we were in good territory to run that kind of play because you're backed up. I think we were like inside our own 10-yard line, right? And most teams are going to think you're going run on that, right? Normally. But when you ain't got absolutely no running game, it's going to be impossible for teams to go focus on the running back. They're going to straight up go and focus on the quarterback. That's just what it is, man. So I wanted to kind of break down the game, give y'all my 2 cents on how things kind of went in the most briefest fashion I could do. I'm going to try to get y'all and myself up out of here in an hour. I appreciate all of y'all pulling up and rocking with me on this week 3 edition of the Giant Overreaction. Sit tight. Let's get right to it, y'all. All right, man. So first off, I want to show some love to the chat one time, man. Let me see what y'all talking, catch up with y'all, see if y'all got any questions, any comments, any super chats came in or anything like that. And then we'll go off into some of these Giant Overreactions. I got about 5 of them today. One of them's a video clip from WFAN. And yeah, I see Hyphen Wade said that was Kirk Herbstreit. I think that was. A lot of people was hating on Kirk Herbstreit's commentary throughout the game. I thought he was all right, but he just inaccurate on some of the things he was saying, like the Darren Waller pass from Daniel Jones where he was saying you got to catch that. That pass was just a little bit too high for sure. Let me see what else we got up in here. Mr. The Hardaway says, a few superstars don't make a team, but where are the Eli and Strahan type players that elevate their teammates and coaches? This is a great point. And I'm going to go backwards on the chat because I know I missed a lot of y'all stuff. But this is a really good point right here. Like, when you look at our teams from the past, and Carl Banks, I think he reposted something from Big Blue VCR that was awesome, man. It was Mike Singletary talking about the New York Giants defense and from the 80s. And it was just like, yo, the clips they were showing, it brought me back to when I was a youngin'. Like, those defenses were so hard-nosed, get after the quarterback, tough dogs on that side of the ball. And we really don't have that now. And then when you think about offensively with Eli Manning, I was saying this in the Spaces a couple days ago, right? Like, what I liked about Eli Manning is he had the, like, I don't give a damn mentality. He wasn't thinking about, oh, I got to protect, the interceptions I'm throwing. I can't have this game get too out of control, look bad. Eli was out there chucking it. You go back, look at that 49ers game. In the playoffs, Eli is getting destroyed up front. Chin strap on his nose. It's actually in the intro for the Giant Overreaction. And every time I go live, it reminds me of it, right? We don't have those players on this team. And I spoke about it last week when we did the Giant Overreaction for week 2 for the Cardinals game. I was like, man, I saw that dog come out of Daniel Jones. Like, when you saw him score that touchdown and get the flexing, that is a passionate player right there. Very just all the emotion pouring into his play. And then you see this game, and it's just kind of like, it was just kind of like you never really got those moments. And I talked about it. The necessary evils is what I called it last week, right? Where, like, sometimes you got to get that dog pulled out of you. And it just seems like when we go up against tougher competition, the elites of our conference, prime time, bright lights, we don't get that same energy. I think Daniel Jones is doing a pretty decent job, and we know who he is. We know who Daniel Jones is as a quarterback. We know his limitations. We know what we should expect. We know what he needs up front. We know the kind of weaponry that he needs and deserves, right? And I think that's starting to be the big question here is, like, where's the elite jump? We came in here, we brought in some weapons. Where's the elite jump? Now, it's been 3 weeks. I ain't going to go crazy overreacting outside of this show, right? It's been 3 weeks, but it hasn't been good football. You look at even on the defensive side of the ball, like, who's the leader? Our young cornerbacks are playing better than most of the units on this team. And those dudes are in their 3rd NFL game. It's quite puzzling, man. It's quite puzzling. Let me see. Chance is in the building one time. Shout out to Chance in the building. Says, I think they thought DJ would take the Josh Allen jump. He didn't. Maybe they changed the playbook. Yeah, I mean, it's early, right? But if anything, it looks like we've regressed on offense. And I know we're going up against Dallas, right? But last year when we were playing against Dallas, these games didn't feel this bad. I know one time we did face the backup quarterback in Cooper Rush, but when we played them around Thanksgiving, we hung close, man. And it's not that much of a different team we faced. But then when you see Dallas lose to the Cardinals, you can kind of balance it out and just say, hey, weather was tough. Maybe the Giants were on an off day, got caught a little bit off guard. You know what I mean? Is what it is, right? But Daniel Jones and the offense and Brian Dable. I expected Brian Dable and Mike Kafka to make a jump as well. You got a quarterback in his 2nd year in the system. All of this stuff should look better. and it's not looking better. And it's unfortunate. So I got to agree with you on that, Chance. So far, haven't made that Josh Allen leap yet. Not quite yet. Let me see what else we got in here. Just scrolling back. Shout out to the Nick Realist one time, man. I appreciate that $2 super chat, my G. Now I'm related to the Giants. Props to Dobbs. Dobbs is balling out right now, man. And this dude is a true journeyman. True journeyman, man. Has not really got too many starts. He's playing some good football and making some throws, man, where I'm like, yo, very surprising. Very surprising. I'm anxious to see where the Cardinals go, because if the Cardinals could kind of stay in the mix and then get Kyler Murray back, if Dobbs is playing well, what do you do there? I mean, Kyler Murray, you're paying him the big money. You probably got to start him, right? But if you pull the legs up underneath the table of Josh Dobbs and Kyler Murray comes in and he's not hot and not playing well, you're going to have some real issues over there. But I'm with you, man. Big props to Joshua Dobbs, man. He's been playing good football. I see BJ Boogie said he got trucked by Josh Dobbs. That's facts right there. Marjorie's in the building. What's going on, Marjorie? Hope all is well, man. It's it's interesting to be streaming like at this hour. It just it give me a vibe of like a morning show, because for me this is like kind of like the real morning. I know for y'all this probably like y'all lunch break, afternoon and whatnot. I'd be going to sleep at 4 in the morning. But Marjorie says, I still cannot figure out why the Giants abandoned the run game against Dallas. Yeah, you know, I posted about that right when I saw it. I said, if you look at the way the Arizona Cardinals are attacking, or I'm sorry, the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, no, I had it right. Sorry. If you look at the way that the Arizona Cardinals attacked the Dallas Cowboys, they beat them with the run first, James Conner. That's how they beat them. And then they passed off of that and found plenty of success off of that. I don't know what was going on with the Giants. You go into the season, and to me, that was the third straight game plan where I was questioning, like, yo, why are we not running the ball? I talked about that a ton after the Dallas game. You know, you go to the Minnesota Vikings in the playoff game, Saquon gets the ball 9 times. You go to the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round, Saquon gets the ball 9 times. You come out week 1 and you give Saquon the ball 12 total times. It's just not making no sense. And now he's hurt again. It's super unfortunate right now, because it's like what can go wrong is going wrong for the New York Giants. You know, you would think that, like, okay, they noticed the running game. You know, they're not relying on the running game as much. So they get back to business. They get back to RTDB. But right when they want to do that, Saquon Barkley ends up being hurt. It's a bummer. It's really a bummer. But I'm with you on that. I'm puzzled by it. I think they're just trying to get too cute. That's really all I can say about it. Lloyd's in the building one time. What's going on, Lloyd? Hope all is well, fam. Lloyd says, X-Man has the wrong attitude. They all should be embarrassed. Yeah, I think this is, you know, you can't forget that these are really young men, right? Like Xavier McKinney, extremely young, early 20s and whatnot, right? So I get it. They're going to kind of react like young men. When I was their age, that's how I would handle stuff too, right? And I think he's disgruntled with the front office, you know, being a guy who really been here through the trenches for a couple of years here, and then watching a lot of other players get paid and whatnot. And, you know, I think a lot of this is the onus has to be on him as well when he goes to Cabo and flips the ATV, messes up his hand. You're a team captain, those kind of things. That's not the kind of things that captains do. And I talked about that back then. In result, Jihad Ward blocked me on Twitter for talking about it. I said it was irresponsible. He blocked me on Twitter. You know, it is what it is, you know. But I agree with you on this, you know, and as an older gentleman myself, right, 40 years old, I can say, like, you got to learn from your mistakes. And Xavier McKinney is not really quite doing that. You saw in the beginning of the season, he had those like kind of cryptic tweets where he was talking about being, you know, undervalued or underappreciated for so long, and he can only take this for so much longer. So he is handling this not the proper way. I always tell, especially my young folks, right? I always tell my young folks this. And I wish somebody would have told me this when I was younger. So one of my mentors coming up was my history teacher, Mr. Burnell. Shout out to my homie Mike Burnell, right? I still get to talk to him every now and again. He played ball at Howard, and he was my football coach. He was the DB coach and our defensive coordinator, and he was also our baseball coach. And I'll never forget this baseball incident that happened with me and 2 of my sandbox homies that I came up in Pee-wees playing baseball, football with, right? And I suffered from this as a kid too, but like they just couldn't be quiet, right? They just couldn't like take what his orders that he was saying, listen to him, take the criticism, own it. A lot of people had this problem on Twitter. Just take it as criticism and just try to apply it. So they ended up getting into screaming matches after a couple of games on a baseball team. We were losing a lot of games too. And they ended up getting kicked off the team. And I can remember even back then, this was my 9th grade year. You know, I'm a 14-year-old. And I'm telling them like, bro, because my brother instilled discipline in my life. My parents got separated when I was younger. My father stayed around, right? But my brother really instilled like a lot of discipline. Like, yo, dog, don't be on no BS. So I understood it with the coaches. Like, you don't want to be that kid talking back, opening your mouth too much. Coaches like players that just head down, go out there, ball. Go out there and play football. And Xavier McKinney, he's suffering from that. He's definitely suffering from that. Like, he's just yapping a little bit too much. You can see that with Kadarius Toney a lot, too. Now, I think that's why they shipped him out of here. It's just immature behavior. And I think when it comes to young men like that, very young men like that, you can kind of expect some immature behavior, but a lot of it is on them. I'd say like a little bit is on the coaches as well, because you got to have damage control as well. I used to talk about that in 2019, 2020 when we let Odell Beckham go, in 2018 or after 2018, that like for a player of Odell Beckham's caliber, they should have had better damage control with him. They needed people in place to get it across him. Now, sometimes young men just ain't going to get it, and they're going to have to learn the hard way, and it seems like a lot of these players are doing that. So shout out to you, Lloyd. I definitely agree with you on that one. Let me just scroll back up just a little bit more here. Afghan is in the building. What's going on, fam? Hope all is well, man. I appreciate you pulling up, rocking with me, bro. He said, you could put Taylor Heineke under center on that Niner squad, and I firmly believe there would be no difference record-wise this year, and maybe last year as well. I can't agree with you on this, and I like Taylor Heineke a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I was having a conversation with my homeboys yesterday when we were playing some Apex, right? The difference between Taylor Heineke and Sam Howell, the kid they got over there now, right? Sam Howell got that higher ceiling, but he's even more prone to make the mistake so far through 4 games in his career than Taylor Heineke was. I felt like Taylor Heineke was good for a turnover a game, a touchdown a game. But for the most part, he could take care of the ball. He wasn't out there trying to do way too much, right? He is a similar quarterback to Brock Purdy as far as arm strength goes. Taylor Heineke lacks the anticipation. He does not have the anticipation of a Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy take care of the ball a lot better. Even though in this game against the Giants, you saw there were a couple passes there, tight windows. Even the one that was set up on the crossing route to George Kittle that Adoree Jackson had a play on the ball. He just didn't see it coming. But go back and look at that play. They had an interesting type of play action going on. I think there might have been like some orbit motion behind him and then an interesting play action where Brock Purdy had to turn his back to the line. And right when he turned back and he looked down the field, he had a little pressure coming off the right edge, stepped up, and you could tell he didn't even see Adoree Jackson. Christian McCaffrey was sitting out there in the flat for like a easy 12-yard game before any man was going to see him. But I think, look, Afghan, do me a favor. Go check out JT O'Sullivan's breakdowns on Brock Purdy and check out Alex Rollins' breakdowns on Brock Purdy. Let's have this discussion again after that. Because where Brock Purdy is better than all these kind of quarterbacks like a Taylor Heineke is, his mechanics are just sound. He has great mechanics. His base is so good. Look at some of the throws where he just hits the back foot and boom, the ball's out. He had some throws where like he doesn't even have to put pressure on the back foot. Like the kid has really good mechanics. The experience in college shows with Brock Purdy. Taylor Heineke, I think their arm talent is similar. I think Brock Purdy is better from 0 to 20 than Taylor Heineke is. And even when you look at some of the deep passes from Brock Purdy, if he doesn't land it, he's going to sail it a little bit out of bounds. We saw a couple of those. But the ones that he's landed, man, the throw to Deebo Samuel, and shout out to Ocho Cinco. I'll take this time to give Ocho Cinco his props. Ocho Cinco was tweeting during the game, right? And he said, that's 2 times now I've seen Adoree Jackson playing a whole man inside of the wide receiver on a slant route. And those were the plays you're talking about where Brock Purdy threw a couple of bad passes, the one that popped up in the air and we couldn't get the interception. Adoree's playing the slant, so overplaying it because he knows he has the recovery speed to get back if they do a slant and go. Ocho Cinco said, I guarantee you the sluggo is coming in a couple of plays. And as sure as shit stinks, they ran that sluggo and Deebo Samuel had the touchdown right over Adoree Jackson. So, and I also recommend y'all go check out Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco breaking down this game. Like, I don't want to, pat myself on the back, but I think I got to pat myself on the back on this one. Like, almost everything they're saying is what I've been saying for a couple of weeks. Why are we not running the ball? Saquon is the identity. You got to find a better way to protect this quarterback. Defensively, this team is struggling right now. You can't get pressure after the quarterback. A lot of the points that they were making are points that not only I've been making, but a lot of this fan base has been making. But I think you would have similar results. To sum this one up right here, you would have similar results. But I don't think the record would be the same, and I don't think the domination will be the same either. I think this offense runs extremely well through Brock Purdy. And you got to understand, Brock Purdy making $980,000 a year. And this dude has not even played 16 games yet. Wait till this kid gets a whole season under his belt. I'm not saying he's going to be the second coming of Joe Montana, but this kid can be a starting quarterback, a high-level starting quarterback in this league, especially within that system because they got the weapons, right? CMC he poses such a threat. And it seemed like CMC and this 49ers offense could run the ball at will on the New York Giants, and that kind of opened up everything else. And look at Brock Purdy under pressure. When you look at Brock Purdy under pressure, right, he was pressured more than Daniel Jones in this game. The way that he handles pressure, he's handling it much better than most quarterbacks because he can get rid of that ball quick. He's got anticipation. And I see you had one right before, so I want to highlight it so I can get a little context as well. Purdy's a great value quarterback for the Niners. That's facts. And he's doing the things they need him to do without losing them games. I take issue with folks that credit him even more than he should be. No, listen, Afghan, you got to give him his credit. Let me tell you why you got to give him his credit. The dude just had a Tommy John surgery on his elbow or whatever. Whatever was going on, this dude had a surgery in the first week of March. You have not heard any NFL pundits talk about that. They're not making no excuses for this kid. Absolutely none. Look at Jimmy Garoppolo last night going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a big difference in Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, and it's taking care of the football. Jimmy Garoppolo, he had a solid game last night. Go look at the box score. The 2 turnovers that he had were so critical. It cost them the game. So I do think Brock Purdy deserves this credit. When you come into the league like this, man, and you're winning games, not only are you winning games, but they're winning games because of you. He's not making mistakes. He's got multiple passing touchdowns in 8 of the 9 starts. This kid's playing good football, and we should give him his props. He was the absolute last pick in the draft, man. We got to give him his props. We have to. It's a must that we give him his props. And I know as Giants fans, it's like, we're dealing with our own quarterback situation, right? But, I don't think that should make us look at other quarterbacks and try to kind of bring them down to level them with the play of ours. I don't think we can do that. So I promise you, Afghan, you fam over here, bro. Check out them 2 breakdowns. And everybody else, check out them 2 breakdowns. Alex Rollins, Brock Purdy, and also the QB school, Brock Purdy. You're going to see why a lot of people are high on Brock Purdy. That kid is playing good football. He plays the game at an NFL level. And there are things that, and I'm at fault for this too, right? When I look at Justin Fields, I get so enamored by the talent. Oh, man, he's got a big arm when he does make the throws down the field and they land in the pocket. You're like, damn, this is Mike Vick level type of stuff here. The way that he's running and all that, right? But the little things that he cannot do, like drop back, hit the 3rd foot, and bang, hit a square in route 10 yards down the field. In between zone coverage. Brock Purdy does those things great. Justin Fields, who has a godly-like skill set in comparison to Brock Purdy, he's not even close to the quarterback that Brock Purdy is right now. I mean, not even close. So I know most of us NFL fans, we look at the game with a casual eye. And I don't mean that to say fans are casual, because I'm saying it with a casual eye like me. I look at the game with a kind of casual eye. I'm learning as I go on the job as well, bro. When I look at these quarterbacks and I see these nuances that guys like Kurt Warner break down and they say, look at Brock Purdy here. Look at when he hits the back foot. Look at when he's holding the ball high and tight and not allowing defenders to strip the ball. Look how he's not patting the ball when he's waiting for his wide receivers to get open. He's not even waiting for the wide receiver to get open. You're seeing guys getting ready to come out to break, ball in the air. It reminds me of the Daniel Jones throw, the non-throw that happened in this game where Jalen Hyatt ran the post corner route. Daniel Jones had a little bit of pressure up front and wasn't able to make the throw down the field. If you anticipate things like that, you'll be surprised, because when the wide receiver comes out, and I used to, my cousin played ball at Howard, right? And he played for the Washington Redskins too at one point, CFL and all that, right? And I remember he came back years later to come play with me on my flag team, right? And he was like, let me play quarterback. I was like, all right, bro. I love the 7 route. The post corner route is one of my favorite routes, right? And I'll never forget this. When he came to play quarterback for me, I came out the 7 route, and the ball was on me as I came out the break. And I was like, cuz, you got to pump the brakes, bro. This ain't NFL football, bro. We playing co-ed flag out here, man. When I come out that break, I'm going to need you to wait a little bit longer. But in the NFL, that's what you want. You want to come out that break, have that ball anticipated, be right on you. And I think those are the little nuances that a lot of people don't see during the game with a guy like Brock Purdy. A lot of people are looking at the throw and they just go, oh, that was inaccurate. But they're not. It's so hard to keep your eyes on all this stuff without going back and looking at the game again. He's under pressure every play. There were plays that were blown assignments up front where he still managed to get the ball out early. And I also think, You can't fault a quarterback for his coaches installing a fantastic game plan. You look at the 3rd and 18 that he converted on the first drive and the 3rd and 15 that he converted as well. He got him on short passes, on screen plays and little quick plays. I can't fault Brock Purdy for that, but I can give kudos to Kyle Shanahan over there for designing it perfectly for his young quarterback. Don't forget, 9 starts. That kid has a long way to go, and one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to get much better or teams are going to start to get this tape on him and they're going to start to figure him out. But we'll see. Make sure you check out them videos, Afghan. I definitely appreciate you rocking with me, man, on this Monday afternoon. Yes, it's early afternoon now. Appreciate you rocking with us, though, bro. Let me get to these super chats, and then we got to get to that first giant overreaction real quick. And I'll try to get y'all out of here. Let's say like an hour 15 max. Literally, hour 15 max. Got a lot of stuff to do today. Shout out to Zach G one time in the building. He says Dable did not like to run in Buffalo. This is facts, man. I talked about that a bunch, man. You know, they had Shady McCoy over there, man, and they just completely just let him go. And unfortunately, I think it's going to happen to Saquon Barkley too. You know, the running backs are being devalued. I still think running back is a very important position. They still got to pass protect. They got to catch the ball out the backfield. They still got to run the ball. They got to protect the ball, can't fumble, all of these different things. Okay, when your quarterback's running read option, your running back's getting killed. So as far as like the multiple things they have to do, running backs are still one of the they have some of the most responsibilities when it comes to playing football. So I definitely agree with you on that one, Zach G. Shout out to the fam talking Eco in the building. What's going on, fam? Good to see you back on the stream here, man. Giants went from creative run plays to set up the pass to no running at all. I don't get it. Also, do they create hot reads for DJ? I see so many long developing routes and receivers are not winning. I'm sure they are designing hot reads, and there are NFL offenses and offensive coordinators who don't design hot reads for their quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts being one of them. You go back, look at all the tape last year. When things were hot for him, he just had to just find a way to bail out and run. And I do think that the Giants are designing some hot, and you saw a little bit of quick passing game in this one too to try to relinquish some of the pressure off Daniel Jones. But the part here that I agree with you the most is no running at all. All these creative runs. You would see plays with Matt Breida and Saquon Barkley on the field at the same time last year, doing motion, faking one way, going the other way, and you don't see any of that. And this makes me think of one thing. I don't know if y'all saw the Tua no-look shovel pass. Holy, listen, Mike McDaniel right now, this is a hot take. I think he's the best play designer in the NFL right now. You're even seeing Shanahan take from him. And he used to be on that staff. You're seeing him take concepts that they run with Miami right now. Across the league, people are trying to copy what Mike McDaniel's doing. His red zone play calling yesterday was some of the best red zone play calling I've ever seen in my entire life. Some of these misdirection runs, I was completely baffled by it. I'm just like, yo, this is so creative for Mike McDaniel. And he has the quarterback now with Tua anticipating these throws, man. Teams playing the Miami Dolphins are in trouble. They are really in trouble, man. So I think Brian Dable now, teams got tape on him. We're going to talk about that in these overreactions a little bit, but teams got tape on us from last year. A lot of people were saying that this offense is going to look completely different. And through 3 weeks, it has not. So I definitely agree with you talking, Eco. I appreciate that 999 super chat, bro. That goes an extreme long way to support this channel, man. I definitely appreciate you in the building, too, as well. And shout out to the gang one time, man. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets. In the building with the 499 super chat, just says happy midday Monday. What up, y'all? Hope all is well. No Mets, man. It's a pretty nice day here in the DMV area, man. So go out there, get some sun. I'm going to be doing a lot of trekking, moving a lot of boxes today, man. Packing up a bunch of stuff, man. It's gonna be something I'm not looking forward to, but I appreciate you rocking with us today, man. Y'all know I had to show up. Rain, sleet, snow. I'm going to be up here rocking with y'all, so I had to find a way. Big salute to all y'all in the building, too, man. And all the new faces, man. If you can, hit that like button, get this stream out there, you know, in the YouTube algorithm, man. Get some more eyes on this channel. And if you're digging the vibes, man, hit the subscribe button. We welcome you here to the fam all day long. Shout out to everybody in the building. I see David G in the building, Nova Nebula in the building. Mr. Zoe is in the building. Shout out my Zoe one time. He said the Cardinals are playing with heart. That's facts, man. That's facts. Let me catch up here, man. Yeah, a lot of y'all having great conversations in the chat, man. I definitely appreciate y'all rocking with me on this Monday afternoon. Let's go ahead and get to this this first overreaction. This one came from WFAN. This was and let me see, is that one still up here? Yeah, it is here. This was Evan Roberts speaking after the game.
Watching last night's game, take the numbers out, throw them away. Watching last night's game, If you put Daniel Jones on the Niners and you put Brock Purdy on the Giants and everything else stays the same, the Niners win by more. Yes, Brock Purdy was so inaccurate last night, and he was lucky. And I think Sean's actually right. Now, look, I don't think Daniel Jones played all that well.
But both things could be true.
Yes.
He could not be great in the game and also understand that nobody's helping him.
I agree. Daniel Jones was blah. Brock Purdy was bad. Brock Purdy had one of the worst 300-yard passing games I've ever seen.
Now, there's a lot to dissect in that, right? I'll start first with the part if you swap Daniel Jones and Brock Purdy on teams, okay? I see a lot of people making these comparisons on Twitter as well, right? I think it doesn't do our quarterback any service to put him in a hypothetical situation that makes him look better. Do I think that the 49ers would be a better team with Daniel Jones? It's quite possible. I think it would challenge him to be a different quarterback. That's the thing. The 49ers are built on anticipation, and they do have a great running game, and they have a pretty solid offensive line. You got Trent at left tackle, and outside of that, I mean, they're pretty average up front, but they definitely create a nice pocket for their quarterback, Brock Purdy. And we've seen Daniel Jones thrive in those situations when he has had those in those limited situations with the New York Giants. We have seen him thrive. The one thing that I don't agree with on that, too, though, is if you put Brock Purdy on the Giants, I think you get like a more decisive kind of a game plan. Now, if you put Brock Purdy on the Giants with no Saquon Barkley, no Andrew Thomas, no Ben Bredeson, it might have got really ugly. I don't know if the score would be, I mean, he's thinking that score will probably be like what the Miami Dolphins put up against the Denver Broncos yesterday. I don't think it will be that drastically different, though. I don't know if that's just me. Y'all let me know, man, what y'all thinking about it. For me, I just feel like Brock Purdy, a lot of people are sleeping on him. He came into this league, the last pick in the entire draft last season. Nobody expected this guy to be a guy, right? Nobody expected that. They went out there, they spent first-round draft capital on Trey Lance, traded away 3 first-round picks and a third-round pick, and they literally cut the cord on him and said, screw it, we got Brock Purdy. And now he's coming back after having this elbow surgery, and y'all need to go run and talk about that with the elbow surgery. Not enough people talking about that coming into the year. And I think same thing for Daniel Jones when he had the neck surgery. Everybody thought it was a concern, and then all of a sudden when things start going well, you just forget about it, right? And that's what happens when a quarterback is playing well. Wins solve everything. And the other part that I adamantly disagree with, right, is Brock Purdy put up one of the worst 300-yard. What does one of the worst 300-yard games even mean? 300 yards is 300 yards. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if he threw shuffle passes the whole entire day. If you get 300 yards, you get 300 yards. We can't be taking away yards and putting an asterisk behind the yards simply because the San Francisco 49ers had 201 yards of yak in this game. We just cannot do that. Now, he said Daniel Jones played blah and Brock Purdy played bad. I don't agree with that. I think you could have said maybe they both played blah, and I'd be like, I probably wouldn't even bat an eye at that. But when you say Daniel Jones played blah and Brock Purdy played bad, to me, that would insinuate that Daniel Jones had a better game than Brock Purdy. Now, I'm no mathematician here, but Daniel Jones was 22 of 32 under less pressure, still a lot of pressure. Only had 137 yards on the day. He was inaccurate a lot of the times too, right? We saw the high pass to Darren Waller. We saw some passes go off the mark. Brock Purdy was 25 of 37 for 310 yards. You're doubling, damn near tripling the yards. He had the 2 touchdowns on the day. I got to chalk a lot of this up again to the coaching. Like, when you put your quarterback in a situation to win like that, like Kyle Shanahan did, of course it's going to yield better results. Brian Daboll, when you go out there and you just run the ball 11 times, you're putting the weight of the world on Daniel Jones' shoulders. So for me, I can't agree with that take. To me, it was a good 300-yard game. It's a shaky first quarter from Brock Purdy. Second, third quarter, fourth quarter, he started putting things together. Put that game away. And when you can't challenge the quarterback, they can just run the ball late. And the other thing, too, is that they didn't utilize CMC the way I thought that they were going to. Like, he had 18 carries. It was the, most modest 18 carries I've ever seen. Like, it seemed like they were just taking him off the field. Every time he was successful, he'd come on the field, get a screen pass, break away for 10, run for 10, run for 8, run for 7. You're just like, damn, we cannot stop CMC. And then I see him on the sidelines. I'm just like, why don't they just, pounce? I always talk about this with the beard, them windows, man. When you get the window, put the team away. If you get a window to put a team away, do it. And there are times in that game where they had the Giants down 2 scores, and you seeing CMC on the sidelines, it was almost like they was just messing around with us. And some anonymous reports came out from anonymous players saying like, hey, I can't believe they paid Daniel Jones that money. This dude won't throw the ball. Players from the San Francisco 49ers saying this. Like, he ain't going to pull the trigger. And you saw a lot of man coverage on the back end. And granted, our wide receivers are not getting no separation, but I don't think we can continue to keep saying this. We brought in weapons, y'all. Saquon's hurt. I'm running out of things to say to opposing fan bases to defend my team and my quarterback at this point. And I think a lot of that is just the coaches. They're not putting the team in position to be able to excel offensively. And we know Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll had that little, whatever you want to call it, where people suspected that Brian Daboll was calling plays. But it's not working. Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka, whatever it may be, it's not working. And I see No Met said that everybody was clowning Mike because he's biracial and young. He now looks official. He does look official, man. And I like that geeky kind of nerdy approach, man, because when it comes to what I do, man, you know, with production, engineering, and all that, you got to be a nerd. You got to be up on this. You got to be studying these formulas for compression, these ratios, these thresholds, these attacks, these releases, right? All these different things. You got to be a nerd about it. You got to be up to date with what's going on in the game as far as engineering. And with football, it's the same thing. So salute to all my nerds out there, man, because the more knowledge you got, the better it is, straight up. And you see it with Mike McDaniel. He's out here abusing teams. I saw a lot of that from Brian Daboll last year. It felt new, and it was new. And now that we go into this season, it's the same old, and it's really not working. So for me, I can't agree with Evan Roberts on this one. I just can't. I'm sorry. Like, to me, it was a bit of a homer take too, a little bit. It was like you're just looking for a way to defend the bad play in New York. And I'm not going to sit up here and do that. Bad play is bad play. Everybody talked about the weapons. We were all hyped for Paris Campbell. We were all hyped for Jalen Hyatt. We were all hyped for Darren Waller, right? We're all hyped for JMS. It's not translating yet through 3 games. Maybe it's the level of competition, and I think it just screams that the Giants aren't ready to compete with this type of competition. And I see that this take from Evan Roberts is kind of splitting the room. A lot of people have different takes on it. Some people agree with it. A lot of people don't. I think this is a good point right here, too. Shout out to D. Torres in the building. Like, Jones isn't a gunslinger. Yeah, I don't think he is at this point in his career, and it's early. It's still early. But, like, you need a dude that's going to go out here and wheel and deal if you're going to pass that much. You really do. If you're going to neglect the run, I mean, even Geno Smith in Seattle, shout out to Stan. We were chatting it up about this earlier. They had to rely on that running game this past Sunday to be able to get the passing game going. And in return, they end up winning that game by 10 points, putting up over 35 points on the scoreboard and all of that. I'm one that I criticized Dave Gettleman when he was here a ton, right? And Dave Gettleman, for some reason, was being interviewed in Cape Cod recently. And he talked about the things on a football field that have not changed. He said a lot of things have changed. But the things that have not changed is you got to be able to stop the run, play good defense. You need playmakers on the field that are going to score touchdowns. He also added that Saquon Barkley is one of those guys. And you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to run the ball to close out games. It creates balance for an offense. There are not a lot of guys in this league that you can put out there without a running game, and they are going to excel. I think Patrick Mahomes is one of them, and you saw it with them. They against the Bears, they just still running the ball to set up the pass, right? I think Josh Allen is another one. Maybe Lamar Jackson. I think every other quarterback in the league needs a running game. I think Jalen Hurts can make running backs better around him because you saw that. Like, Jalen Hurts can have DeAndre Swift. He can have Kenneth Gainwell. He can have Boston Scott. He can have Jordan Howard. He can have Miles Sanders. Half of that list is really good running backs. The other half is guys that they wouldn't be in the league without playing with Jalen Hurts. So I think about putting Jalen Hurts in that category, but you also got to look at Jalen Hurts' offensive line situation, probably the best offensive line in the entire league. So I'm with you. If you know the quarterback is not a gunslinger, you have to create a balanced game plan for him to be able to succeed. And right now, it's not happening right now. Shout out Independent Outsider one time. You already know, man. Nerd power. That's facts, man. That's definitely facts. Let me see what else. I'm just scrolling up to catch up with y'all, and then we're going to go to this next giant overreaction. And I'm going to make them quick. I'm definitely reading y'all comments, but like I said, I'm trying to get y'all out of here pretty fast. Yeah, DKB said Lamar can be the running game, and that's a damn fact. That's for sure right there. He can definitely be the running game. All right, let's get to this next overreaction one time, y'all. All right, let's start right here, man. We're talking about some of the game plan stuff. I think it's only proper to bring this one up. Let me make this it's a little bit larger up here. All right, so this is from the homie at SteeloHim on Twitter. Shout out to at SteeloHim. Hope he's not offended at me borrowing his tweet. I really liked this tweet one time. He said, seems like this team got better on paper, but coaching has somehow lost its identity from last year. If you think that this is an overreaction, put an O in the chat. If you agree with the statement on the screen, put a U in the chat. I think I know where a lot of y'all are going to go with this. If you need a push and you want to see a couple more games before you make an assessment that the coaching has somehow lost its identity from last year, go ahead and put a P in the chat to represent the push. I'm going to chop it up while I keep my eye on what y'all talking about here. I already see a couple U's in the chat coming in here. For me, this is facts. You looked at this team on paper, they replaced about half of the players from the starting on both sides of the ball, right? It has not translated at all through 3 games. We played the Dallas Cowboys last year 2 times, and them games did not look the way that they looked opening day. The San Francisco 49ers have dominated us. Last time we played them, they definitely dominated us. We did not look good on paper, or we did not look good on the field against the 49ers. On paper, we should be able to match up a little bit. Okay, they got George Kittle. Well, we got Darren Waller. The somehow part, we got to put an asterisk next to that, I think, because no Saquon Barkley makes this game extremely difficult for the coaching staff. Y'all know I released the video. If you have not seen it, I talked about the New York Giants losing their identity. To me, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people, they're not going to agree with my opinion. That's cool, right? The identity of the New York Giants is Saquon Barkley. It is Saquon Barkley until you can get Daniel Jones to elevate and take that leap, which should happen when you bring in the weapons and you utilize Saquon Barkley in a proper fashion. Saquon is the identity of the New York Giants. You look at the pass block win rate against the Dallas Cowboys, pitiful, right? It was in the 30s. And you look at the run blocking win rate, and it was 72. And we didn't run the ball but 12 times with Saquon Barkley in that game. We know that these big boys up front they're better run blockers than they are pass blockers. So why not die on your identity? To me, there's nothing worse than seeing a team go out there and try to do things that is not them. It's just not them. You know, it's like having a personal stylist. You hire a stylist, right? And they putting you in gear that's just not for you. It don't represent you. And when you step out the house for that first time, they're gonna be like, bro, what is this, bro? Your closest homie's gonna be like, why you got this on? What is this? To me, that's what's happening with the Giants. We went 7-2 on the back of Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones running and getting his rushing attempts off the strength of what Saquon was doing in the running game, committing to running the damn ball. We stopped doing that in the second Washington game. And from there on out to the end of the season, the only games that we won was that Colts game, and there was one other win. You have to find a way to run Saquon Barkley. And then in a game where Saquon is hurt, this should be the debut of these young guys. Eric Gray, Matt Breida, these guys, Gary Brightwell, they should all be seeing a bunch of touches. You did not even threaten the New York Giants with the run or the 49ers with the run. You didn't even threaten them. They did not care about it. And like I said before, on first down play action, they were not even reacting. They were like, we don't care. Our front four can handle that. And then when you're keeping in extra blockers going max protect and you still can't pass the ball, you double down on it and try to pass the ball more. It's extremely puzzling what the Giants are doing right now. And I don't know if this is to prove a point. I understand you invested in this quarterback. You spent big money on this quarterback. But to me, it just screams the wrong approach. It just screams the wrong approach. And I see a lot of y'all got used in the chat. I'm with y'all on this. I'm taking the under on this. I agree with the statement on the screen 1,000%. And let me see what y'all saying. Awthentik in the Beard. Shout out to homie the Beard one time. He said, this is a soldier boy, you. It's facts, man. It's facts, and it's what I was worried about. A lot of people were just automatically expecting Daniel Jones to elevate in his second year underneath the Brian Daboll system. But the one thing that people just completely overlooked is that now teams have a whole full season of what Brian Daboll can do. And you saw it with the Cowboys, and and you saw it with the 49ers. They understand what the New York Giants are trying to do, and they're a step ahead of us. You see it on the sack from Bosa on Daniel Jones. He didn't even pay attention to what was going on that play action. He's like, they got that. I'm going at the quarterback. And it was good to see, our guys get after the quarterback in this game a little bit, but then Kayvon gets that one sack and then relatively quiet after that game. Stanley's in the building one time. He's taking the push. Heart of a Giant taking the under. Cold-blooded taking the under. Mr. Hardaway taking the under. 59 Ways to Groove. I like that name, bro. Shout out to 59 Ways to Groove, yo. That's fire right there, bro. Taking the under as well. My man Deedon taking the under as well. Rozelle in the building taking the under. I am Jarrell taking the under. Yeah, we got a lot of unders up here, man. Simeon says that Kafka's calling plays afraid. Yeah, it's like afraid to run the ball. Like, man, to me, it's like just run the ball, man. Just run the ball. Go first down. How you running play action on first down so much and you not running the ball? Teams are just not going to fall for that. And shout out to D. Torres. He said Simeon Toko 100% correct. I agree with y'all, man. I'm right there with y'all. Rozelle said that Kafka might be the quick fix, but I don't think it solves everything. I think running that ball is going to be the quick fix, man. And we got a tough matchup here against the Seattle Seahawks on Monday night, man. It's going to be real tough. Eric Morales says that 40-0 L still pisses me off. Yeah, me too, man. Like, I saw a lot of Giants fans talking about, the Denver Broncos getting beat so bad, made them feel better. And the Cowboys losing made them feel better. It didn't make me feel better. I'm happy that the Cowboys lost the game. Don't get me wrong, because it keeps us close, especially with the Commanders losing as well. That it keeps us in the mix, right? You want to hope that the NFC East as a total has a down year, but that 40-0 L still it just lingers over me a certain way until we put up a impressive offensive performance. That 40-0 loss is just it's lingering over me, and it's definitely bothering me. I'm right there with you on this. Oh, this is a great point, bro. This is a great point, bro. Shout out I am Jarrell one time in the building says the 2022 Giants would beat the 2023 Giants right now. I ain't got to say nothing to that. That is all facts, my brother. I appreciate you rocking with me today, man, and bringing some great stuff like this to the table right here. This is so true right here. This should have been one of my overreactions right here. This is a great statement right here. Our wide receiver core in 2022 looked better than what we got out there right now. It's the craziest thing because you parted ways with a bunch of people and brought in guys like Paris Campbell. You draft Jalen Hyatt. You bring in Darren Waller, who's pretty much a tight end / wide receiver, right? You got Hodgins now on the roster, full summer underneath him, camp underneath him, and we cannot pass the ball for nothing right now. It is very interesting. I'm even going to take a screenshot of this statement. This needs to be posted. So let me see what else we got. Yeah, it's all yous in the building, man. Shout out to all of y'all. I see some new faces in the building, man. Shout out to all y'all, man. Appreciate y'all rocking with us on a Monday, man. We're going, it's a therapy session over here on Giant Overreaction for the most part, man, when we chop it up on Mondays after an L like this. And when we get them victories, man, it's a celebration. Y'all know what it is. So hopefully we can find a way to get this dub on Monday and get things back on track. Because right now I think we're having a lot of problems with this offense, and we're having a lot of problems with the defense, not figuring out how to be able to stop offenses right now, trying a multitude of things. This week it was blitz the quarterback by any means necessary, and that did not waver Brock Purdy. I think early on it kind of did a little bit, but at the end of the day, Brock Purdy put up some good numbers and played a good game. Shout out my G, Chris Peace in the building one time. We right at the hour mark here, so we're going to get to these. He said, Dear Mike Kafka, please, for all that is holy, run the damn ball. Establish the run to the best of your ability so that when you want to run play action, it works. Dearly noted. Yes, that is facts right there. And I love this statement too, man. Richie was a good slot, to be honest. He was. He had the highest catch rate of any wide receiver in the league of over 50 targets last season. Struggling over there with the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's actually hurt right now, and he's bobbled a couple of punts already. We know. Don't put Richie James back there to return them punts. Andy Reid is going to have to learn the hard way. All right, let's get off into this next overreaction one time. I got 3 more, and I'm going to get y'all out of here. I'm going to kind of fly through these a little bit fast, man. I appreciate y'all again for rocking with us today on this Monday. This one comes from the homie John Cena, Jersey. He says, Daniel Jones ain't worth $160 million, period. Now, if you think that this is an overreaction, put an O in the chat. If you think that this is factual statement up here on the screen one time, put a U in the chat to represent that you're taking the under. And if you need the push, and I'm gonna need the push. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm gonna need the push from myself here. But if you need the push, go ahead and put the P in the chat one time to represent that you're gonna take the push. I really want to see what y'all talking here. I know these about to fly in one time. Let's see how y'all talking. A lot of people don't even like mentioning the $160 million contract. A lot of people don't like when you mention that, it bothers people. When you compare, I saw a lot of comparisons on the internet. Daniel Jones, $160 million. Brock Purdy, $980,000. $980,000 does allow you to be able to build around your quarterback. $160 million, you can still build around a quarterback a little bit, because this contract is not a contract that completely just floors the New York Giants and ruins their cap or anything like that, unless you were to try to cut Daniel Jones after this year, which is definitely not going to happen. Oh my, hey, y'all dropping some gems today, yo. Shout out to the chat, man. I swear to God, Awthentik and the Beer, we got the best chat in the damn country, dog. I'm going to keep it real with y'all because y'all dropping some gems in that chat right now. Jameson Taylor says he going to take the under one time. Chris P said he taking the push. Definitely need the push. I feel you on that. 59 Ways to Groove says scout better linemen. I want to talk about this one before I get to one of these gems here one time. The thing about the linemen, right, is when you pay the quarterback $160 million and you have to re-sign guys like Andrew Thomas, Dexter Lawrence, you spent a good chunk of money, right? It's hard to be able to bring in linemen outside of the draft. And the Giants definitely address linemen in the draft. I think we've drafted 5 linemen in the past 2 seasons or something like that, right? But now you're banking on these young linemen to get into a groove, pun intended, 59 Ways to Groove, right? To get into a groove early and be able to protect your quarterback that we all know. I don't think there's a Giants fan out there that would disagree with this. It is very necessary that Daniel Jones has a good offensive line in front of him for him to succeed, right? You're banking on these rookies now. So it makes me question the philosophy and the approach of the team. Now, y'all know me. I'm on record on this channel at the beginning of the year talking about this. I was not one that was in the side or in the party of signing Daniel Jones to a long-term contract. I thought it might be better to go out there, get a bridge quarterback, try to wait till this year, draft your quarterback, get through the season, and then bring in a new whole type of regime or new type of a offensive system and philosophy with a new quarterback. Reset the rookie contract clock. You would save a lot of money, right? Now, that Daniel Jones got his money, it didn't bother me because Daniel Jones is a good quarterback, right? He has shown you at least in 2 seasons that he can be a good quarterback. I wasn't one of the people that was running to the bank saying that last season was a great year. I cannot do that. There's no way, and people are not going to like this, there's no way that a quarterback with 15 touchdowns passing through the air, 7 on the ground, is ever going to make me say, yo, bro, you had a great season. Can't do, because, it's like you put up a good dunk in the first round of the dunk contest, and I'm like 10. I cannot do that, right? Because I got to leave room for improvement. And obviously everybody this year thought that Daniel Jones was going to get better. So scout better linemen is very true. The clock is ticking, though. You cannot continuously just keep trying to draft linemen and hope that they come in and not be an Evan Neal and be a guy who first year hits the ground running like a Rashawn Slater. They're in a tough situation here after paying the quarterback. That's dead facts right there. Now, I want to scroll back and bring up this other comment. It was right around here because it was a really good one. Oh, this one right here from Cold Blooded. You got to question this. You have to question this. This smells like Carson Wentz contract. The crazy part about it, though, was the way Carson Wentz contract was set up, similar to this with Daniel Jones in this one asset here. All the dead cap hit was early in the contract. And it was why the Washington Commanders were able to get Carson Wentz, bring him over there for just $29 million a year with a 0 dead cap hit if they cut him the following year. So it was a great move on paper before the year, but then Carson Wentz doesn't play well, gets hurt. He ain't been the same since that knee injury. The other thing you got to consider is that Carson Wentz was playing MVP football before he hurt his knee and the Philadelphia Eagles went on to win the Super Bowl. But these are the things this is why I say I got the best chat in the country, because nobody's talking about this right now. I haven't seen this online once. I haven't seen no shows talking about this. Now, I don't think that it's a bad contract, obviously. And they restructured at the beginning of the year to kind of create a little bit more space. And they created like a couple more million when they restructured it. But you have to question this at this point. You have to. Because right now we're not seeing a quarterback that has shown you the type of play that he can be elite. When you get paid $160 million, now I was chopping up with some homies the other day about this, right? When they pay you $160 million, this is how some fans look at it. They look at it like, oh, Daniel Jones on the scale of quarterbacks being paid, he's down at like 11 now. He was at 10 before Joe Burrow got paid and whatnot. They look at it like, oh, since he's 11th, we're paying him to be, like 11th best team in the league. We're not looking at Daniel Jones to go win a Super Bowl within this contract. We just want to be a competent football club. I promise you, you are dead ass mistaken if you think that the Giants paid a quarterback $160 million and they are not trying to get that quarterback into a Super Bowl game. I promise you that. So this is our quarterback for the next 2 seasons. There's nothing we can do about it, right? But support him and hope that he plays better. And I think a lot of his play this year is not on him. We know the injuries, offensive line. I'm not going to make up a ton of excuses, right? But to me, the number one detriment right now to Daniel Jones has been the play callers. That's my opinion. I just think that Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka are not setting this kid up to succeed. And it's very bothersome, very. Because you looked at last year, he looked like he could do a lot, even with a janky offensive line, even with not superior talent at the wide receiver. Daniel Jones was still going out there playing good football. He was playing winning football, as me and the Beard like to always talk about. So for me, I'm pointing the finger at the coaches on this one. Daniel Jones ain't worth $160 million, period. The verdict ain't out yet. He's got 14 more games to prove that he's at least worth half of that money right now, or at least the guarantees. And then we'll have next year. But it's going to be tough. If we continue to go down this path, it's going to be tough. I want to go look up what Daniel Jones' numbers are right now real quick, just before we move on from this one. In 3 games, Daniel Jones has 562 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And we know a lot of those interceptions weren't on him, obviously. You got the one that popped up from Saquon Barkley in the last game against the Cardinals, I believe that was. The first game, the one against the Dallas Cowboys, I don't put that one all on Saquon Barkley because you got the whole shot on the left side, which is where the ball should have went. And we're seeing that too consistent from Daniel Jones, not taking the whole shot throws, not pushing the ball downfield. But those stats ain't looking good. You continue down that road, man, it's going to be tough sledding for Daniel Jones. But that last comment, man, shout out to you. That was a great one to bring up, the Carson Wentz contract. Let me see. Deedon says 160 is the market value of a quarterback. 31 to 28 comeback justifies his salary. I don't agree with none of that, to be honest. The comeback is miraculous. I mean, I love the comeback. It was a beautiful thing to see. And the coaches were putting him in a good position in that second half to do it. But that comeback don't justify the salary after you played poor first, out of what, 12 quarters, you've played poor in 10 of them. I don't think it justifies it. 160 is the market value for a starting quarterback in the NFL, right? Yeah, I give you that. But when you got guys that you could bring in and you could pay them like a 16th of this contract and could probably be out there doing the same stuff we're seeing. I don't see a guy going above and beyond right now. And that's not to be overly critical of Daniel Jones. It's just what I'm seeing right now. It's just through 3 games, right? But that's what I'm seeing so far. So I can't agree with you on this. I just can't. Well, let me see what else we got here. Let me highlight this one from Chance real quick to get a little balance here. So Chance Chambers says it is an overreaction. If they franchise tag him, that cap kills them for this year. That's a fact right there. Plus, they can cut the cord after 2 years with no hit. They know he's a bridge quarterback. It's a win-win for the Giants. Now, if he's a bridge quarterback, though, why are we just giving away $82 million? Are we really going to give away $82 million to a bridge quarterback? That's crazy. Jacoby Brissett is a bridge quarterback. I think he's making like $5 million as a backup right now in Washington. I don't know, bro. I don't know about that, man. Like, the guaranteed money, I know you could cut the cord after 2 years, but the guaranteed money, you're going to lose. You're going to lose big money on that. You just dumped away $80 million for nothing. I don't know, man. I'll take the push on this one as well, man. I don't know. It's tough. My man Lou says it's an overreaction too. Let me see. Let me keep scrolling here. Lou says that Danny, with time, he can do that thing. I agree with you on that. And I think that's for a lot of quarterbacks. Like, I'd say maybe like 28 of the 32 starters right now, if you give them time, they'll be able to handle business. Offensive line is important, man. That's why a lot of people stress the trenches, man. The trenches are very, very important. You can cover up a lot of deficiencies when you have good play in the trenches. So, yeah, Lou, I agree with you on that for sure. Nova says JMS has been eating. Yeah, JMS has been eating. I like what I've been seeing from JMS. He's been playing well. No Mets, no Nets, no Jets says so far DJ's pocket manipulation has regressed. Yeah. And, man, I don't think there's one part of his pocket manipulation and just pocket presence, period, that I don't think is ever going to improve. Daniel Jones don't have lateral movement like that. You know, like, you're not going to see a guy, and even Brock Purdy, who doesn't have a running kind of skill set that Daniel Jones has, you could see a little bit of dip, dodge, duck, dive, dodgeball type stuff going on in the pocket at times. Daniel's probably the one quarterback in the league that you don't see spin out of the pocket. Like, you know, have y'all been seeing Sam Howell the way he spins out of the pocket a lot of times? Like, Mike Vick's the first quarterback that I saw really doing it back in the day. Steve Young was doing it back in the day too, where they blindly spin to their blind side when they get blindside pressure to throw a lot of these edge rushers off. You never see that one from Daniel Jones because he just don't got the agility, I think. Those are the kind of things I don't think you're ever going to see get better, to be honest. Keep it funky with you. Michael Knight said, let's go get Quentin Nelson. I feel you on that. Irish Rovers in the building. This the fan, man. What's going on, dog? Said the O-line needs to be addressed regardless of who the quarterback is. Yeah, and they tried to address it, and this is what I was talking about with some homies. Like, when you address it, you need to bring in proven talent. This is why I respect Sean McVay so much. Proven talent over these first-round young talent players. To me, it's a better philosophy, and it can be a better philosophy. When you bring in young talent, you're expecting guys in the first round, second round to come in and be starters right off the bat. McVay says, hey, I'll trade away those first-round picks. Give me some proven guys. I know they'll come in here and they'll ball out. I don't have to guess how their transition is going to be to the NFL because we've already seen it. So, yeah, Irish, I'm with you on that. We definitely got to find a way to address the offensive line and have accountability there. You know, like, you got to put the dollars up, man. That's really what it is. And they paid Andrew Thomas. That's fantastic. Now you got to find a way to solidify that other side of the line. The Giants' right side of their offensive line is the worst in the NFL, I'd say. But shout out to you one time, man. Appreciate you pulling up, Irish. Let me see what's going on. Kyle Pizzle's in the building. Shout out to Pizzle in the building one time. He said, who want to see Awthentik and Pizzle get together? That's what's up, man. Holla at me, Pizzle. Holla at me. Hope all is going well with you, bro. Talking Eco popped in one time with the super chat for $4.99. What's going on, fam? He said, I still think the play calling his rookie season was the best DJ had. That's why I still think Shermer was fired too soon. 1,000%. You know, like, DJ was good on the run his rookie season, right? And they ran a lot of flood concepts, 3-level flood concepts, right, to make it pretty simple on Daniel Jones to just be able to read one side of the field. Now, that does, you know, shrink the options of how you can spread the offense around, right? You're rolling to your right and you're throwing on one side of the hash. But I think Daniel Jones was just much better. Some of the pocket passing that Pat Shermer had Daniel Jones doing did get him in trouble, though. You cannot forget 19 fumbles, 11 of them lost, 5 of them scooping scores. Another one of them was scooped and brought all the way back to the 1-yard line, which goes to show you that Daniel Jones was getting hit a lot with blindside pressure, not seeing it. His pocket presence did get better from then. And I don't know if we can credit Jason Garrett and Joe Judge on that a little bit because they gave him better pocket presence and they made him a safer quarterback. And they made him turn the ball over a little bit less, but in return, you lost the gunslinger vibes that Daniel Jones had. So it's very unfortunate. But I definitely agree with the statement on the screen here. Brian Dable, though, I do think put Daniel Jones in a really good position last year, you know, to be to maximize his running skill set. I thought he did a good job. Now it's just looking like teams got tape, and Brian Dable and Mike Kafka are kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what to do next. This next game against Seattle is going to be extremely interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. But I appreciate you pulling up, man, and donating and supporting the channel, my G. That means a lot. All right, let me scroll down, and then we're going to have to get to this overreaction. Like I said, I don't want to keep y'all here too long. Got to keep it at the hour-and-a-half mark here. Shout out to Zach one time in the building. For the $5 super chat, he said DJ needs to elevate the talent around him to justify the contract. Teams that win have quarterback talent that elevates the talent around them. That perfectly said, bro. Perfectly said, man. I appreciate you supporting the channel, my G. I feel exactly like this right now. And you hope, you know, that Daniel Jones can elevate the talent around him, not only when he's going up against teams that are equal to us or beneath us, but the teams that are, you know, the front runners in the NFC conference and in the other conference, man. You got to go out there, and when they put you up against solid squads, you got to be able to show that you are just as good as these other quarterbacks and that you can overcome some of these deficiencies. Because right now, when I look at Daniel Jones play, especially on Thursday night, you had deficiencies on the offensive line. You have separation deficiencies with the wide receivers. And Daniel Jones is not overcoming any of those. So it is unfortunate. A lot of pressure is on our quarterback right now. That's for damn sure. And it should be like that. You know, quarterback gets all the blame. Quarterback's the guy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Cool Runnings, right? You had Derice. He was the driver of the bobsled. The driver of the bobsled is the one who's going to get all the blame, okay? He's the one who got to stay up looking at the turns. It was John Candy, I believe, who was the coach in that joint. Great movie if you've never seen Cool Runnings. I See Pride. It's a great movie. But he had to explain to Derice, like, look, man, it's going to be all on you. And that's what it is with Daniel Jones. You're the quarterback of the New York Giants. It's going to be on you. And one thing that I think the New York Giants have lost their identity, as well as Saquon Barkley being the main focal point on the offense, is we lost our defensive identity from the 80s. You know, I talked about that a little bit earlier. Guys like Carl Banks, Harry Carson, Lawrence Taylor, the list can go on and on and on, where we had tough players on our defense that you feared on the offensive side of the ball. And it just seems that we're in those positions way too much offensively with our quarterback feeling like, hey, these guys are pinning their ears back, coming after me. I got to get rid of this ball. And defensively, we're not showing that same kind of fight and that same kind of energy. Let me see. And I appreciate that, Zach. Again, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. My man Afghan says a dude like Shane Lemieux, who has done absolutely nothing in this league, isn't bad enough for the Giants to replace on the depth chart. Think about that. Yeah, and, you know, this was Shane Lemieux's first start of the year. You know, it's because Ben Bredesen has been hurt. And Ben Bredesen has been pretty decent. The right side of the line has been really bad. Mark Lewinsky has struggled at right guard, and I got a source. Shout out to Nick DeWick. Nick DeWick told me that, look, he knows some inside people with the Giants. It's a fact. Lewinsky does not want to play anymore. He just wants to be a mentor for this season, and I think it's the last year you're going to see Lewinsky not only on the New York Giants, but it'll probably be his last year in the league. So Giants are struggling up front, but you have to find a way to plug and play. You know, we got to look at Bobby Johnson, the offensive line coach, too. You know, since he's been here, it hadn't been that good. So we got to find a way. Nonetheless, I think it's all NFL talent. You're seeing the Cardinals go out there with a roster that looks like they should be losing every game, and they just beat the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't know if we can credit that to coaching or what. New York Giants just definitely got to find a way. That's all it is. There's nothing else to it. The fans are getting impatient here, and we need a better product on the field. You know, that's what it is. I'm going to act like a little spoiled fan today. That's what it is. All right, so let's get off into these last two overreactions. I'll get y'all up out of here. Again, I appreciate all of y'all rocking with us on all fronts, all platforms across. Even if you on Twitter watching this and you looking for clips to clip up and hate and be like, look, listen to Awthentik here, man. Salute to you too, man. I appreciate y'all putting the eyes on this content. That means a lot over here. A lot of y'all in the building here. We got over 100 people on all platforms. I'm super appreciative, and I'm grateful to be here to be able to talk New York Giants football with y'all on this Monday afternoon. So big salute to y'all. All right, let's get to it. I'll keep the theme going from last game here, and we'll talk about Jalen Hyatt here. This comes from the homie Craig in the 843. I don't know where the 843 is. I wonder where that's located. I should look that up. But he said it looks like that one trick Jalen Hyatt guy is just out there using his speed. Do y'all think this is an overreaction, AATB fam? Or do you agree with the statement and you're going to take the under and put a U in the chat? I'll give y'all a little bit of time to populate your thoughts here real quick, and we'll run through some of these and get to this last overreaction. Again, salute to all y'all in the building. Shout out to Canon, man. They're autofocus, bro. Whew, that thing just be locking right in. All right, let's see what we got here. Shout out to homie The Beard one time in the building, representing in the chat one time. He said it's an overreaction. Kevin the PRF says he's taking the under. He agrees with the statement on the screen. This is pretty funny. Simeon Tokyo said, put Evan Neal as security guard. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Shout out to the homie Hasbick in the building. He says this is an overreaction. Sherrod Melvin is in the building one time. He said Jalen Hyatt is being sent on nothing but deep routes. That's a fact right there. That's a cold profile pick too, man. That's a fire couch. Salute to you for rocking with us today. Cold Blooded said it's an overreaction. Bill Hartnett said it's an overreaction too. My man Gregory in here representing them Dallas Cowboys said it's an overreaction. Simeon Toko in the building says it's an overreaction. Mr. The Hardaway says I need the push. That's the smartest play of the day right there on this one. Primetime 816 says it's an overreaction. Kansan Zero says it's an overreaction. Cortez says it's an overreaction. My man, Michael Knight on the field in the picture right there says he's taking a push on this one. Smart move, my brother. Heart of a Giant says it's an overreaction. I am Jarrell in the building, says it's an overreaction. Send me a link to your podcast if you pod, I am Jarrell. I see you got a microphone there. Let me know what's good, brother. Hit me up on Twitter or something, at Awthentik, the way I spell it. Would love to check that out. Jay-Z Glazer in the building says it's an overreaction. He's run a couple of nice routes, still has to develop, but for sure. Let me see what else we got. TPJ second generation in the building one time. Says it's an overreaction. The kid has barely seen the field. This coaching staff needs to wake up. Jalen Hyatt was seen as one of the best wide receivers in the draft. I love that take right there. Talking Eco says it's an overreaction. I don't think coaching gives him the opportunity to show his full skill set. 59 Ways to Groove says the whole team need to come to D.C., get wings, 5 Mambo sauce and fries. Then they might be all right. I know that's real right there. I don't know if you know 59 Ways to Groove. I'm in Washington, D.C. on North Capitol, man. This is my home. I reside here, been in the DMV all my life, man. Big shout out to you one time for representing D.C. because, yeah, that Mambo sauce will change your life, man. That's facts right there. Irish Rover says he taking the push too soon to know for me. Zach G said it's an overreaction. Sherrod said Hyatt played 16 total snaps versus San Francisco. That's facts. Big dog status in the building. What's going on, fam? Says it's an overreaction, and even if that was the case, with speed like that, he's always open. That's real. That's real. A bunch of overreactions from Lloyd, Deedon, Mike Jones in the building one time. Mike Jones says the overreaction as well. Cold-Blooded said they got in the Richie James role on their flood concepts. David says it's an overreaction. Get him the ball. Chris Peace taking the push one time. And Marjorie says definitely an overreaction. Deedon said high point catch was not speed, bro. Yeah, that's facts right there. The high point catch, he used a little bit of speed to get down the field. The ball looked a little underthrown, and he just rose up and made things happen. So let me just dissect this a little bit. Looks like that one trick Jalen Hyatt guy. Okay, that part is an overreaction. The one trick, but I am starting to question. You look at the routes. Dude is running 9-8-7. That's all he running. There was one play where he ran, I want to say this was in the Dallas Cowboys game, where he ran a shallow crosser, and Daniel Jones hit him right on the numbers, and he ended up dropping the ball. I think that was against Dallas. If it wasn't against Dallas, it was in the preseason game. 59 Ways to Groove said, on the wings for show. That's facts, yo. 3 wings, 4 wings, Mambo sauce and fries, right? You already know. Rhode Island Express in the building. Now, the part about is just out there using his speed, I don't think that part's an overreaction. I just think that this coaching staff is just not setting him up. Like, you're an NFL wide receiver. I talked about this on my Twitter, right? Where are the screenplays for Hyatt? Where are the stop routes? You know, Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears can't get shit going, but they can run stop routes. So I think I could go out there and run a stop route. No stop routes, no digs, no outs, no quick slants. You got Darren Waller. Look at the play that Daniel Jones threw the interception to Darren Waller, right? I love Darren Waller, but that quick slant got no juice. It's rounded off. It got no juice. And the defender's right on it. He's all over it. I think Charvarius Ward got a hand on the ball. I still haven't gone back to look at that one slow motion with the close-up cameras. But to me, it looked like Charvarius Ward got a hand on the ball. Just a bad route. Just a bad route. And Darren Waller, he beats people with his body. That's his thing. Like, he's not going to create separation like a wide receiver. He's just going to use his strength to out-muscle you. Y'all saw that in the preseason. He just pushed dude off and made the catch and whatnot. But, like, why is Jalen Hyatt not out there running a slant? I don't know if y'all remember this from Odell Beckham, right? Sometimes they would line Odell Beckham up in the slot, right? I wish I had the clip right on hand because it was one of my favorite drives of Odell Beckham's entire career. Like, he would set people up with the comeback from the slot, like run a quick little 8-yard comeback or a quick little like button hook, right? And he would set you up. He would catch like 2 of those, and then they would run the double move where he would run the comeback, double move, turn it into the seam, touchdown. You remember all the quick slants? Think about the Ravens game where Odell Beckham just caught the slant to the house, because the goal here should be to use Jalen Hyatt's speed, catch after, or run after catch is what it should be. Instead, they're just trying to get him deep down the field at all times. But, like, where are the mesh concepts? Where are the crossing route concepts for Jalen Hyatt to be able to catch the ball and go? We tried this a lot when we had Kadarius Toney here, and I'm sure y'all can remember some of these flags we got with Kadarius Toney and Sterling Shepard. A lot of scissors concepts, a lot of crossing route concepts where they would like pretty much screen the defender and then they would call, offensive pass interference on us. But you can run things like that a little bit more precise and get Jalen Hyatt open down the field, intermediate-wise, to catch and run. And Giants fans are wondering why the San Francisco 49ers have 201 yards of yak and the Giants had like 19 yards of yak. It's not just on the wide receivers. It's not like these wide receivers are catching the ball with 3 defenders around them and they're just like, get off me, and they go down there and do a Debo Samuel. It's not like that all the time. A lot of the time, yak is dependent on where the ball was thrown, the type of concept, how it was schemed up. You got to get creative here. And I don't think the Giants are getting that creative. So I'm going to go ahead and say this. I don't think that this is quite a whole overreaction yet. I'm going to take the push on it because there's some truth to it. And there's some that, when you call Jalen Hyatt a one-trick pony, we don't know that yet. But the knock on him coming out of college was he had a very limited route tree. And the Dallas Cowboys wide receiver coach talked about it. And Jalen Hyatt said, but I can run routes. So he has the confidence in himself to be able to run routes. The problem here is that the coaches don't have the confidence in him to be out there on the field to run the routes. 12 total plays, pass plays. He was on the field. 16 total snaps. It's not going to get it done. It's not going to get it done. And no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. I'm right there with you. Definitely missed the man OBJ over here. He would have been a perfect weapon for Daniel Jones, too. It's unfortunate that stuff didn't pan out the way we all thought it was. And Sherrod said OBJ was amazing at route running. Yeah, and still is. Let me see what Gregory's saying here. Gregory said Awthentik Hyatt needs another good wide receiver on the other side of the field to take the attention off Hyatt. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that Darius Slayton can be that, right? Because Darius Slayton has the speed to stretch the field where if you don't put a safety over the top on why aren't we doing this more? Okay. Why are we not running personnel with Darius Slayton on one side, Jalen Hyatt on the other, and just give me some vertical concepts. Make a safety choose. A lot of teams have been playing single high on us. You saw it with the Dallas Cowboys, right? It does not take time to throw a go route. You don't need the greatest protection up front to throw a go route. Why don't we just let Daniel Jones drop back at times, read the middle safety, make the decision? We saw it once. I believe that was I think that was against the Arizona Cardinals, where Darius Slayton tried to get his shin down on that fade route. It's a pretty good throw from Daniel Jones, too. Unfortunately, they just called him out of bounds, didn't get the feet down. But I just want to see those concepts more. I think Slayton and Hodgins and Hyatt should be able to do more damage than they're doing right now. But it is a good point. Like, if you had a dominant alpha wide receiver one on the other side, DeAndre Hopkins, it would open up things for guys like Hyatt, Slayton, Shepard, Wan'Dale, who I thought Wan'Dale was pretty good in this game, actually. He did have 4 receptions, I think, on 4 targets. It would open things up. So I just don't get it. Like, Evan Roberts called Daniel Jones blah. I think he should have called Mike Kafka and Brian Dable blah in this game. It was very blah. It was just ordinary stuff. And we got to find a way to adjust. All right, let's get to this last one. Talk a little bit about our mission that we're going to have here. We're going to have to handle. It seems a little bit impossible, but it's a very important game coming up here Monday night. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Man, so New York Giants got the Seattle Seahawks coming up on Monday night, another primetime game. My man NYG Daily Feed says, if the Giants lose to Seattle at home, it's a wrap. That's a game the Giants should not lose. If you think this is an overreaction, let me see the O's in the chat. If you agree with the statement on the screen, represent you want to take the under with a U in the chat. And if you need some more time, which I don't think you can, this is the last Giant overreaction before we get to Monday, then you can put the P in the chat for the push. Don't forget to check us out. Tomorrow we're going to be doing an NFC East recap. I tweeted this out earlier. I said we can all celebrate if the Philadelphia Eagles lose tonight against the Bucs. That'll be 4 losses within the NFC East. We can have a great celebration after that. That's what I'm crossing my fingers for. So when we get here to the recap on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I can show up with a smile on my face, because if the Eagles win, that's going to give them a little bit of a chunk lead on the New York Giants here. Let me see what y'all talking one time here. Sherrod says, that thing jumped on me. He says he's taking the under. Can't fall to 1-3 before the Dolphins. Yeah, the Dolphins look crazy too. They look crazy good right now. I definitely agree with you on that. Chris P says it's an overreaction. Okay, I got you on that, Chris. Shout out to the Beard one time in the chat. He said he taking the push only because Awthentik said y'all can make the playoffs at 8-9. That's true. That's true. Hopefully things go a little, kind of negative in the NFC, and maybe the Giants could sneak in and get that third spot. But the Beard, I did not anticipate y'all going 2-1 this early, so we got a lot of homework to do. We definitely got to handle business against the Washington Commanders, and I didn't pick a sweep against the Commanders, but I think that's what it's going to take for the New York Giants to get in the playoffs. J-Tech said he taking the push one time. Let me see. Afghan says that's most likely the case. Miami and Buffalo on deck afterwards. Yeah, it's tough sledding from here, y'all. This schedule, this is the stretch that I was extremely worried about. Seattle, Miami, Buffalo, 49ers before it. Man, I don't know how we going to come out of this one. And that's why at the beginning of the year, I had the New York Giants at an 8-9 record to finish the season, because I just thought that stretch was extremely difficult. And then having to see the Philadelphia Eagles 2 times late in the season, that's going to be also difficult as well. Teams like the Packers now that some might have thought, hey, that's a game you could check mark as a win, or the Los Angeles Rams, those 2 teams looking really good right now. So it's going to be an uphill climb for the New York Giants for damn sure. Chance Chambers said he taking the under. The season is over if they lose. Kind of with you on that. 59 Ways to Groove says the Giants are going to win 27-16. Take that to the bank. I will take that to the bank. I got the score being a little bit higher than that, I think, as of right now. Seattle Seahawks just put up 37 against the Carolina Panthers, who are a pretty damn good defense. That was a good back-and-forth game throughout the first half. They relied on the run. I question if the Giants can stop Kenneth Walker. And then on the outside, you're going to have 2 rookie cornerbacks going up against Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And then in the slot, you're going to have Adoree Jackson going up against JSN. JSN hasn't had any real big games yet, but he's been fairly effective. Gregory said it's a must-win. Shout out Lesnar one time in the building. Lesnar says it's a must-win as well. Deedon Shelton says taking the under. Marjorie's taking the push on this one. Big dog status is taking the under on this one. We got smacked by them last season. It cannot happen again. That's real. And they've gotten off to a bit of a slow start, but they're kind of getting things rolling a little bit here in the past 2 weeks. Geno Smith playing much better football. Lloyd says it's an overreaction. Seattle has some weapons and put up points their last game. Yeah, they definitely did. I think if we lose to Seattle, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna have to win some unexpected games for sure. Jay-Z Glazer says it's an overreaction as well. We should win, but we can potentially turn it around mid-season. Look at the Lions last year. Yeah, Lions didn't make the playoffs last year. And the Lions started off 1-6, I believe it was, got off to a terrible start. And then they started playing great ball. And I think that the Lions have a very high potency type of offense that can score a lot of points. With the Giants, we're not quite there yet. We have deficiencies not only on the offensive side of the ball, but our defense has been terrible through 3 games. So it's going to be tough. I don't know if we could pull the Lions here. I don't know if we have the type of vertical passing attack to do what the Lions do. But the Lions, they're definitely a hot football team. Ending the year last year and coming into this year, the first 3 weeks for sure. Zach G taking the under. The season is already over. We have Miami after Seattle. I can understand feeling like that for sure. Hyphen Wade taking the push. Chance Chambers said 1-5 coming into the Commanders is a no-go. That's real, and that's going to be our second divisional game of the year, so got to figure out a way. Definitely got to figure out a way. Let me see. Yeah, Zach G said the Beard feels better about his Cowboys pick. For sure. He definitely does. Even though he did pick the Cowboys to win his game just like me. I know he had to after the way the Cowboys looked after 2 weeks. But now, with the Cowboys falling to the Cardinals, I think that brings them back down to earth, especially losing Trayvon Diggs for sure. That's for real. Let me see what else we got here. John says our season is over regardless if the defense can't tackle nobody. Yeah, defense has not played well. Rozelle taking the push. He also said it needs to be a complete turnaround because the Lions are not a punching bag anymore. Yeah. Lions are a really good team. Michael Knight said, question, if we only win 5 or 6 games, do you think the coach is coming back? Yeah. I think Brian Dable's first season bought him an extra year, over all those other coaches. Like, you can't go 3 straight regimes firing the coach after 2 seasons. And let me see, is that 4 straight? It'll be 4 straight. Yeah. Because Ben McAdoo was 2017 to 2018 or 2016 to 2017. And then they got Pat Shurmur. He got fired after 2 years. Then they had Joe Judge. He got fired after 2 years. So, yeah, you can't do that again. You really can't. They got to just stick with this. I see Evan Spitzberg is in the building. What's going on, bro? I hope all is well on your Monday afternoon, fam. Appreciate you pulling up and rocking out with us. Let me see what else we got here. J-Tech is in the building. He says, do you think it's possible if Neal is not playing well that he moved to guard and put someone like Azidu at right tackle? I suggested that after the Cardinals game, right? But then when you saw Azidu in the 49ers game, he didn't have as much success at the tackle. Kind of looked like he forgot he was playing tackle at times. No kick step, none of that. It's tough to put to move an investment like Evan Neal like that to guard this quick. My thoughts on it are like this. I think Evan Neal is a little bit too large of a stature to play guard. Guards have to pull. They have to be nimble on their feet. I don't know if he's got the footwork to do it. But, whatever works, man. Whatever works. Like, right guard has been an issue all year long. I think Marcus McKeithen came in and played some decent football, though. Getting Ben Bredesen back is going to help. But I think when you get these guys healthy, Andrew Thomas, Ben Bredesen, you're really going to have some decisions to make. So keep your eyes on what Brian Dable and them are doing because, is Marcus McKeithen going to go to the bench? What's going to happen with Joshua Azidu? He's been playing some guard last season, has been played some tackle this year, looked pretty good against the Cardinals. Whatever you got to do to get the best 5 up front, you got to do it. That's really what it is. And before we get to the next one, Michael Knight said, I have another question. After the Jets fire their coach, do you think we could grab him to be our defensive coordinator? It's possible. I'm not one that's of the thinking of firing Wink Martindale so quickly because Wink is doing what he has to do right now. If he were to sit back in zone coverage like Patrick Graham used to do, fans would be just as pissed off. He said, hey, screw it, man. We can't get pressure on the quarterback with our front. I'm sending the house. He died on his identity. I'm okay with that. Offensively, we're not dying on our identity, and I'm definitely not okay with that. But that's a good question. I definitely appreciate that. And then Zach G said, would Joe Shane draft quarterback if the Giants are at the bottom of the league to buy himself more time because signing Jones was a merit decision? I don't know. I didn't think that Joe Shane was going to re-sign Daniel Jones. I didn't think that. So I really don't know what he'll do at this point. You might want to draft a quarterback. It depends. Yeah, I mean, if you're picking like top 5, there's a ton of quarterbacks coming out in this draft, dude. Cam Ward looked amazing this past Saturday. There's so many quarterbacks out there that are going to be in this draft. You're going to have some decisions to make. And do you want to spend draft capital, first-round draft capital, on a quarterback when you know your team needs offensive line? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's extremely tough, man. Shout out 59 Ways to Groove. He said, best Giants chat, hands down. I'm going to be here every time you go live. DC or nothing, go blue. I appreciate that, fam. We welcome you to the family, my G. We do these Giant Overreactions are every Monday, normally at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today I went a little early at 11 so I could get some things done later on in the day. Tuesdays we recap the entire NFC East at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursdays we do our preview show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Sundays we do a fantasy show called The Parlay with the Beard. And that one is at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we definitely putting our foot in this content, man. We appreciate you. And being that you from D.C., man, that's fire. I appreciate you rocking with us today. Gregory said, Awthentik, should the Giants think about blowing this thing up? Should they trade Dexter Lawrence and Barkley for multiple draft picks and rebuild the team? You have to consider blowing it up, definitely, right? If things go really bad this year, and let's say you end the year with like 5 wins, you got to think about it, right? But I think you have some staples. I don't think Dexter Lawrence would be one of the guys that you would try to go out there and shop. I think he's a staple piece for this defense. He's very young, so you can build a defense around him. Me and my homie Jabri, BBU Giants, was talking about this in the space the other day, and he made some really great points on it, that you kind of had to sign a guy like Dexter Lawrence. Andrew Thomas is another staple piece, but there are definitely some other guys that are expendable. I don't see Saquon Barkley being a Giant next year just off the way that the Buffalo Bills handled running back situations in the past, I just don't see it for Saquon, even if he comes back and has a really good year, and that's unfortunate because I think Saquon has been the identity for this team. Granted, they haven't been that great throughout the past 5 years, but he's been that identity. And I talked about it in a video when we were talking about signing Saquon, loyalty or respect. Like, I'm going to take respect every time over loyalty because respect, people going to act accordingly when you get respected. Loyalty can have people being loyal to a fault to you. So I think the Giants, like with them, they really didn't show Saquon Barkley the loyalty, and I don't think they're showing him the respect right now either as far as getting the ball in his hands when he is healthy. And then you get this injury popping up, another high ankle sprain. This is his second high ankle sprain, in his career here with the New York Giants. It's definitely a red flag for sure. So It's going to be tough, but they absolutely should consider it. If you have a 5-win team, something like that, you got to consider it. And I don't think you just go into 2024 with a whole blown-up team. You don't do it all in one go. You kind of got to ease into that. But I can't play like doom and gloom this early. There's still a lot of football left to be played. But I appreciate you, Gregory. That's a really good question right there. Let me see. He said, what do you think the Giants can get for Barkley? I don't know. Maybe like a third. The thing is he's on a franchise tag, so it's likely the teams would probably just wait. I mean, you could trade him before the deadline this year too, though. Maybe a third, maybe a fourth. It's interesting. Big Dog Status said, I think they should have paid him. Yeah, they should have found a way to get to a 2-year deal. They have different plans. You could tell that they want to be able to open this up and have a pass attack thrive. You know, that's really the deal. That's really the deal. All right, let's get I think that was actually the last one. Yeah, that was the last overreaction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yup. But, man, I definitely appreciate all of y'all pulling up, rocking with me today, man, on this edition of the Giant Overreaction. This was definitely a vibe. Salute to all the new people in the building, man. If you digging the vibes, definitely pull up, hit that subscribe button, put the notification bell on, man, so you know when we go live. We do this thing 4 days a week, man. We're definitely trying to give maximum effort to bring y'all high-quality content. And all I'm doing here, man, is really just sharing my opinions on how I feel about the New York Giants. And I try to, you know, this show is particularly more difficult to be able to, like, engage as much with the chat because I'm a one-man band up here when I do these shows. Tuesdays and Thursdays makes it a lot easier when I got the beard up here. We can ask a lot of different questions and answer a lot of y'all different questions as well. You know, today is very tough for the New York Giants and the fan base. I know there's been a lot of fighting on social media and stuff like that, but be kind to each other, man. Like, yo, we all represent the same team, man, and, you know, just respect people's takes. Try to not come at people, you know, on a personal level and stuff like that, man. I think that's just very immature behavior and whatnot, but it's going to exist, obviously, on the internet. It is what it is. But I'm just here to give y'all my takes. I just appreciate all of y'all being in here, all 100+ of y'all that stuck around, rocked out with me. I gave y'all a little extra time, man. We at the 147-minute mark, pushing just about 2 hours, man. Tomorrow we'll be live for the recap of the games from this past weekend and the Thursday night one again. I try to get some more numbers on this game, do a bit of a deeper dive a little bit, and try to make it interesting. It's you know, talking about the same loss 2 times is extremely tough, man. And, you know, when the Giants win, it's really good over here. We got great vibes. It's real high. Hopefully the New York Giants can get back to winning football. Right now, my expectations are pretty low. If you've been following me on Twitter, I'm at Awthentik on Twitter. I've been posting this picture of this little cat with his feet up, and that's how I've been watching the games, man. I just I'm not getting reeled in. I don't want to have the New York Giants play ruin my day or ruin my week, man. And I know how that is. I used to be the kind of fan that, like, when we lost games, I'd pull up to the studio and be, like, completely down for the whole entire week, and you could just see it on me. So try to not let this New York Giants team just ruin your entire week. It's a work in progress, man, and the success of this team is not necessarily going to be linear. So keep that in mind. Y'all know how we end every show here, man. Let's get them biceps in the chat one time. Representing for the gang. Shout out J. Gene. I see you in the building, man. All my day ones, I appreciate y'all rocking with us, man. When we had 3 subscribers and now we got over 3,000 subscribers, keep telling people about this show, man. We're going to continue to try to bring y'all that high-quality content as much as we can. And I end every show with the same statement, man. Y'all know what it is. Keep raising that bar. Keep living those dreams, y'all, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, my Aishin, Combat Jack one time. And, man, y'all know what it is, man. We got to just keep fighting, keep rooting for this team, man, and hopefully they can find a way to turn it around. Make sure to pull up again, man, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to the Beard. Send him some biceps for getting this stream together for me early in the morning. I appreciate all of y'all, man. I'm grateful. I'm super grateful to have y'all here with me, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all week if y'all can't chime in tomorrow or Thursday. And, man, to the death, man, y'all know what it is. Till that casket dips, it's go Giants, man, all damn day, win or loss.
Spike don't care.
All right, man. I'll catch y'all on the next show. Y'all be good out here, man. Peace.